I've got a good friend who likes to ask somewhat off-the-wall questions, just out of the blue, or maybe during a lull in a conversation. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. Imagine this. You're at a fancy restaurant, 3 other couples, besides Lori and me. There's finally a lull in the conversation, and my friend turns to me and asks, "Are you a folder or a water?" And I look at him, and I'm, a folder or a water, or what exactly is a folder or a water? He says, "Do you fold or wad your toilet paper before you cleanse yourself?" Well, ladies and gentlemen, I had to sit and think about that for a moment. I had no idea. I've automatically done it for 50-some years. It turns out I'm a water. At that time, I assumed everyone else was too. When I got home that night, I sat down in front of my computer and I Googled folder or water. Turns out that there are other people in the world that have even pondered that question. It amazed me. There's like 830 some hits, and I put it in quotes. There's a website called bathroomsurveys.com. Over 1 million respondents have answered questions there. One of them, are you a folder or a water? Turns out like 42% of people are folders. The rest are waters, I assume, unless there's any other way that people do it, or maybe they don't do it at all. I don't know. UrbanDictionary.com defines a folder as an industry term, or a term used by the toilet paper industry to describe a person who neatly folds the toilet paper over itself before cleansing themselves. Water is described as the opposite of a folder. There are also other meanings for water which probably don't fit in with this speech, so I'll leave that to you to look up. Ancient Rome, they had these big rooms. There's a bench around the outside, and there were holes cut in this bench. People would go in there and sit and take care of their business. When it was time, they'd signal the bathroom attendant. The bathroom attendant would bring over a sponge on a stick that had been soaking in salt water to kill any bacteria and germs on from the last person. You'd cleanse yourself, and he'd trot back with that sponge and put it back and rinse it out in the salt water and have it ready for the next person. In more recent times, there are a number of things that people used before toilet paper was readily available. And those were things such as moss, pages from old catalogs, books, and corn cobs. Pages from old magazines, catalogs, books, moss, I can see that. But how did the guy that came up with the idea for corn cobs think of that? I mean, I've been eating corn on the cob all my life. Never once have I looked at that corn cob and thought, you know, I could take that in the bathroom and cleanse myself. I imagine they say necessity is the mother of invention. Perhaps they'd gotten all the way through that Montgomery Ward catalog. They'd gone under the teenage son's mattress and got the ladies' underwear section and used that up as well. Maybe they were sitting down at dinner and it just occurred to him, you know. Maud, save these corn cobs tonight. We're going to put them out in the outhouse and use them to cleanse ourselves. Several years ago, Sheryl Crow was flying around the country in her private jet, trying to get the rest of us to conserve. One of the things that she thought we could conserve on was toilet paper. She said in her speeches, "I think there should be a limit placed on the number of squares of toilet paper that can be used at any one sitting. We're an industrious enough people, we should be able to make it work with 1 square per restroom visit, except for those pesky situations where 2 or 3 might be required." I don't know about y'all, but 2 or 3 is not enough for a regular situation for me. And how would they enforce something like that? I mean, they're going to have a cop in every bathroom? Get down there and take a look when you're done and say, you know, you can have 1, 2, or 3 squares. Of course, with technology today, maybe they could force us to buy these very expensive toilets. There'd be a small camera down there. When you were done, you'd mash a button on a toilet paper dispenser. Your image would pop up on a screen down in Washington, D.C., where some government agent would look at it and determine whether you got 1, 2, or 3 squares of toilet paper. Not sure how well that would work, so we might want to just start saving corn cobs now in case that day ever comes. One of the other things that I ran across, I was talking about this with a friend, and she was telling me every time her brother came to visit, he would go through tons of toilet paper, just use up all the toilet paper she had. So the last time he came to visit, they bought this really, really cheap toilet paper and put it in the bathroom, and he's in there for a little while, and then he yells out, "Who bought the John Wayne toilet paper?" I thought, well, it's kind of a cute little story, but I'd never heard of John Wayne toilet paper before, so I, of course, Googled it. Turns out John Wayne toilet paper is a military term. It's used to describe the low-grade toilet paper that is included in the MRE accessory packets. It's called John Wayne toilet paper because it's rough, tough, and it doesn't take shit off anybody. Ladies and gentlemen, before this goes too far down the toilet, remember, next time there's a lull in the conversation, you can turn to someone and ask, "Are you a folder or a water?" Madam Toastmaster.